While investigating a distress call from Talos 4, Captain Christopher Pike of the Starship Enterprise is captured and tested by beings who can project powerfully realistic illusions. And there you have it.
Good recap, Ray.
Why, thank you.
I like your fake radio announcer voice.
It's great.
I figured we'd add a little levity to the proceedings, you know?
Good. And levity was something that was in short supply on the first mission of the USS Enterprise.
Indeed it was, Jerry Whitley.
The thing that's always been so weird to me about that is the funny one in the cage is Spock.
Ah, good point.
Yeah.
Everyone else is pretty joyless.
Yeah, it's a very typical Gene Roddenberry kind of humorless affair.
The touch point of that humorlessness would be Captain Pike, our hero. But what do we think of Captain Pike as a character and Jeffrey Hunter as an actor as our first captain?
I thought he was super hunky.
Ooh, super hunky.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest,
he's a handsome man.
Like he's a really handsome guy. Like he was a tough act to follow for William Shatner. That's all I'll say.
He's got the brooding thing down too. You know,
he can
dark
brood
and
the crap
handsome,
out of a scene.
brooding kind of fellow.
Yeah. He is tall, dark, and handsome. Yeah.
Yes.
And his eyes are ridiculous.
It's true. Yeah, he's got dreamy eyes. I'll say that. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a line on an episode of 30 Rock where Jack Donaghy says describing himself, says he has the piercing blue eyes of an ice dragon. And that kind of describes
awesome.
Jeffrey Hunter to a T.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah, and one of the I think his eyes were so. One of his selling points as an actor was his eyes, and he was cast as Jesus Christ only 3 or 4 years before this in a movie called The King of Kings.
Yeah, I'm looking at the pictures right now.
Yeah, I mean, and I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that he had that unbelievably intense look that he could give with those eyes of his.
Yeah, like particularly that scene where he's there with Dr. Boyce. And he brings him some booze, and he says, "Men will tell things their bartender, they'll never tell their doctor." He's just commanding that scene with the power of his eyes alone.
Yeah, yeah. You can see a lot of wear and tear in it too. He's very tired. He's very worn out.
Yeah,
but at the same time, there's that intensity.
Yeah, you kind of get the impression that Christopher Pike does not particularly enjoy the rigors of command.
No,
like he views it as a kind of a very heavy burden.
And I think that's one of those little strike one about it being a pilot is here's this guy who's tired of it. He feels a burden. That's not exactly the leading hero you'd expect of a 60s TV show.
Maybe that is a product of the time as you're suggesting that, but I kind of really liked, especially on this rewatch of The Cage, it's been a little while for me since I'd watched it. I really liked this idea that Pike was like a flawed hero, and
I think so do we. I think all of us really.
Yeah,
like
well,
that,
I also like I would argue the fact that, and maybe this isn't an argument at all, that Pike was maybe not overall in general tired of command, but I feel like he was in a rut, Like he's like had a rough go of it. He was stressed out, and like we've all been there. We've questioned like, what am I doing with my life? Like, because he's like, I'm gonna go like be a slave trader on Orion or whatever.
He just had that terrible mission. He just had that terrible mission to Rigel 7 where he lost people.
Yeah, where some men died.
Right. And a lot of people were hurt.
Yeah, a lot of people were hurt. It's not a good day for him,
But by the end of it, the character actually has a big arc in this show, in The Cage. Pike he starts out as being someone who's like practically ready to quit his job, and by the end of it, although I think this could have been driven home a little bit more strongly, but what they seem to be going for was that by the end of it, he's made this full 180 and is like, oh, now I understand, like, I've been reminded of why I'm here and why I do this kind of a thing.
And you know what? This had never occurred to me until you hung a lantern on it, Kayla, but that's exactly what happens with Benjamin Sisko in Emissary. He's ready to leave Starfleet because, in his case, it's because he's lost his wife. And then he has this contact with these super intelligent aliens and comes around and decides, no, this is where I belong.
You're right. It's just like The Cage.
Very much the same. Yeah. you.